My name is Margaret Ann Windsor. That's my real name. I have to use the name Peggy Ann Dempsey. I'm married to Childers. I'm showing all these students at Parkland in Florida, not Parkland as in where John Kennedy was put when he was shot by a program shooter in Dallas. That was a hospital, but that's involved in the patterns, and it should be the end of this. And this young man could not have committed these murders. He was in mind control programmed from way back, which is what I've been writing about. And my lights are going out here, so I don't know. Plug came out, what? I watch up. Well, my lights went out. Guess this isn't going to go. I don't know. TV is on. Anyway, I'm going to finish it here. At this point, well, I think it's trying to come back on. I've been in almost like shock. I'm going to put this up again. I'm not going to lay out the endorsement by Larry Flint. If you give a rat's, you can look it up yourself. I've gone through this hell myself because I cared and because I found out about my kidnapping in late 1983 when I ran in a political campaign to replace U.S. Congressman Doctor from Piedmont Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. And his plane went down. And here I'm going to tell you again, you got this news free, not by the media, by me. Larry McDonald, the doctor I wrote about in the medical malpractice book, was on the KAL when it was shot down. Supposedly he was on it. When it veered into Russian airspace, 10 miles in, was shot down by the Russians. 260 plus passengers died. They drowned. Supposedly Congressman McDonald was on that. They took Nixon was on that flight. They took him off just before the flight left and went down in the ocean. It was a special election to replace him, McDonald, and I became a candidate, and I'd written about this doctor, and he tried to help have me killed because of the information I had in the book. It had connections for the Center for Disease Control that everybody should know, and at this moment, it's just unreal how I've been treated for telling the truth, nothing but the truth, so help me God. Dr. Jonas Robichaud died. He was psychiatrist, law, head of Emory University, written many books. Last one was by a different publisher, and I think they published it in 1980 when I was almost killed, or 81. I believe that was his last one. He had my 10 cases in the back of last chapter of his book, and I never met him that I know of. But he knew of me, obviously. And he sent a patient, a person who came to me because it involved law and psychiatry, to Eugene Kaiser, an attorney, and he was my attorney, and he had been a former Fulton County, Atlanta district attorney, this man is. Jean Strokerman was the woman that was sent to my attorney by Robichaud, and I got a hold of the deposition that she gave, and the police came in. So my attorney told me, and it was illegal, and took everything else about Jean Strokerman. Because she was killed, she went to work, of all things, for Hardiman. I can't remember his name at the time. He was at Piedmont Hospital, Larry McDonald's hospital. And I know that my husband, just before I was almost killed, April Fool Day of 80, went to him. He's a psychiatrist, and she was working for him, Jean Strokerman. She was gunned down on Christmas Eve, and her guts were blown up against the wall by the Christmas tree. Okay, she was going to sue a doctor. Cohen, I believe, was his name, and I don't know if it was for rape. I think it was. Anyway, She was dead. My attorney gave me the deposition, but that was enough. I wrote about her in my book. I wrote about Larry McDonald, Congressman Doctor. I wrote about, I even put Hardiman in there because there's other connections. Why was my husband going to him just before I was almost killed? My God, April Fool Day of 80. I thought it was because of the book, and it was in part. So I could go on and on. Warren and Rosina Matthews were forensic pathologists at Piedmont Hospital. They were gunned down by program shooters. One of them blatantly was hypnotized, the woman. And they have gone around and tried to change everything that about her, about that, and about Wayne Williams, which happened in 1980. And you're going to blame the CIA and FBI. You know, I've been through this, and actually it's the people, the media, the Illuminati, Rockefellers, Rothschilds that did all this. Now then, if I can get back to where I lost my train of thought. My husband went to Hardiman. I thought, and he come back and told me he had, and that Hardiman wanted to know what I knew about Gene Strokerman's murder. They did not want any of this told. So on April Fool Day, I was almost killed. I had a letter from the FBI, ongoing investigation, national security involved, issued by William Harper, U.S. Attorney. I can give you names if if I live, and I hope I do, because I have told about going out to Flint's. Flint was shot in Lawrenceville, Georgia, March the 6th of 78, while I was doing the book at Moonraker Apartments. The title of my book was MD, A License to Kill. Moonraker, the movie 007, Roger Moore, came out a year later, not prior. And then a couple of years later, Timothy Dalton 007 book, A License to Kill, came out. They're associated with the monarch. And I believe Moonraker has something about mind control in it in outer space, Roger Moore. Now, I moved to Terrell Mill up the street from Moonraker, May the 8th of 79, got the letter from the FBI, ongoing investigation, national security involved. So I'm going to jump to working for Fred Simpson. I'm going to delete right at the moment what was done to me. I put it up anyway. Went to work for the district attorney and passed a background check. Simpson. I did not know my real name till late 83, but looking back, the Simpson and what happened there, the Simpson was a clue to my identity, like Wallace Warfield Simpson was supposed to marry King Edward VIII, and he was supposed to have abdicated and married her and became the Duke and Duchess of Windsor. Total friggin' lie. A man has been so smeared, he was taken down with character assassination. He was married to Claudia Ruth O'Keefe, an American, born in Sun Prairie, Wisconsin. Georgia O'Keefe, the artist's baby sister. Now, then she was actually queen. She married my father. It wasn't because, quote, they considered her a commoner, and the general public didn't. I've been told by Brits who paid their own way over here. They walked the Appalachian Trail when I was living up there. They came and saved my life so many times. So, anyway, I've lost my train of thought now and all this. Anyway, my father, they said abdicated. I've been told that by somebody who knows that he abdicated and meant to take it back because of all the lies going on. They were using a double to marry Wallace Simpson the next year in 37, become the illegal Duke and Duchess of Windsor. They, the Illuminati, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, Kennedys, Roosevelts, Jews, Irish, were the ones that helped take my father down. He wouldn't go along with them. He wouldn't take orders from them. So they installed my uncle, illegal George VI, who helped take his own brother down, kidnap his niece in 41. I was born in 39. There was an addendum that said if my father had an heir, it would not disinherit the heir. And it was legal. It went through channels. Winston Churchill tried to destroy, well, he did burn the Windsor files. I understand there's files left. And the British and the Germans told me, and the Brits, I'm going to go ahead and say it. FBI, who do you think I've been talking about? I've told you about going to FBI office, ongoing investigation. I've told you about, and I hate to name names, and I've forgotten his name. I've been in the office so many times down there, and a couple of times I didn't remember, to be honest with you, that I was told later. But anyway, not Michael Ken, he was special agent in charge. Who was the gentleman that was down there, and he was FBI agent, and he's the one that called me from Hustler Magazine, because FBI run Hustler Magazine. And about this time in 84, and I had just received the Hustler Magazine endorsement for the presidency. I'd run the campaign in 83 and flown out to his house in Bel Air. He helped me in the campaign, and his was a program shooting in Lawrenceville, Georgia, while I was doing the book in Marietta. In 78, he was shot. So this FBI agent called me, and maybe it's better I don't remember his name at the moment. He called me, and here's what he said, because all this has been made to where, like one agent said, Noe, came in 85 when I'm pumping gas in 84, and Flint had furnished me a car for a year. He would come in often. He was supposed to be retired, and he said to me one day, he said, people know you're telling the truth. The FBI, have made it so ludicrous. People know you're telling the truth. It gives them a chance to walk away, and they walk away. Okay, back to the agent that was saying this to me. He said to me, I can't remember his name, and evidently I don't guess I should. He yawned, and he said, you know what people do with what you're telling them? They're bored. It's not until they find out how it affects them that they care. Well, that's not caring. And he was so right. He's the same agent that called me, and I was living in Falls Church. I even worked for Ron Ziegler of the Watergate, Nixon, and he was my friend. Wow. The Watergate tapes, all this mess. And I was kidnapped, and they've tried to shut it up, who I am and everybody. The only good one was Ron Ziegler, and I worked for him, temp, while I was driving the Hustler car, and I guess it was about January of 84. So, where am I now? Somebody accused me of, lady, you should this, you should that. Knowing all this, you all should have helped and done the right thing and told the truth. You say you want the truth, the heck you do. So now then, you can put it together. The agent called me, and I'd got the Hustler endorsement, the magazine. It was nice. One Mr. Flint said I knew who was responsible for his shooting, and he talked about I wouldn't watch one of the videos. Well, I don't like pornography, but I'm going to tell you one friggin' thing. The doctors, lawyers, and all of them involved in this, your politicians, you've got Kissinger, the SOB. Maybe one day people will show, because the FBI and the Brits were always in on trying to help me. So I hope they have images or pictures of what has been done to me and my kids. Oh, yeah. So if I can get back to my train of thought, the gentleman in Falls Church, well, I was in Falls Church, and I had the Hustler car and had run in the campaign. And you got the plane going off 10 miles and into Russian airspace, being shot down. The doctor, Larry McDonald, congressman on the plane. Supposedly 260 people plus went down. You've got Nixon being taken off of that flight in Juneau, Alaska. They knew it was going down. Geraldo Rivera got off. Now then, did Larry McDonald really get on that plane and drown, or did they just pretend he did? Because so much was going on about what I had put together in the book and investigation and everything. But it didn't help me, I don't guess, because they just about killed me so many times. Anyway, back to then. I got a letter. Okay, I had not heard from Larry Flint anymore. I would try to return the car, try to get in touch, and where I had been put right through to Mr. Flint, they wouldn't disconnect like they would put me on hold and transfer me to another phone, and I'd never get to talk to him. So they're still there, but they're not there, is what you're getting. So now then, I've moved to Falls Church. I had had an apartment, working temp. Get the magazine sent to me out of Wisconsin, Minnesota. Okay, and then I get a phone call. So they knew where I was. They sent the magazine there. So I got a phone call from this FBI agent that I've been talking about. I can't remember his name right at the moment. And he's a good guy. He called and said, "I'm calling from Hustler magazine." Or did he say, now it's been so long, Mr. Flint is looking for you. He can't find you. He is, I forgot what they said, really concerned, and he's trying to find you. Well, that was back then. And obviously, if he's calling from Larry Flint's or Hustler magazine, he's called me. They sent me the magazine. They know where I am. So anyway, I'm going to leave it there, and I still can't remember his name. But the FBI, you're given such a rotten name now, and I know some rotten things that have happened, but most of all, it's happened to me because of you all. Some of you have tried. 99% hate my guts for telling the truth. I'm not a hero to you all. Hell, I'm just the monarch that was kidnapped and my father took down. So that happens all the time. No, it doesn't. And I don't like what you did to my wonderful, honest father, and they're still telling lies. And Elizabeth and that whole friggin' bunch. And I'm going to say this, I happen to know there are some of my close kin that have tried to help. It's been more like the German, because look what happened to the Germans you did, and to the Romanovs, who are, the mother is of German, well, real close German ancestry, straight. Look what you did. And that was Anastasia that was murdered up here in Charlottesville in 1984. You better believe it, by the mental health. So now then, you can put this together. I came up here in 86. I couldn't get jobs anymore. I had to turn the car back in after a year lease. And the FBI, I said that about Noe that told me that while I'm pumping gas in Grottoes, Virginia. And the car furnished to me by Flint sitting up there by their house, and I'm working for them, and I can't afford gas. What's wrong with this picture? And here you got Noe, the FBI agent, retired, up there coming in and filling up with gas and telling me that what I just told you. By the way, I did remember later that he was with my husband at Brown Engineering. This is the space industry near Moulton, where they took me, and I'm probably talking to a dead phone. No. When about 1962, I guess, or 61,